Welcome to episode 194. Today I am joined by Tiana Vassallo, the star of Amazon Prime TV series Dance Life. Now, this is not the first time that Tiana has joined us here on the show. She actually did our Dance Life pop-up series quite some time ago, but we are so thrilled to have her back. And the reason we are even more thrilled is because Tiana is going to be one of our guest panelists and entertainers at Studio Biz Summit. Yes, that's right. Tiana will be performing live at Studio Biz Summit in Sydney on April 29th, and she'll be joining the discussion panel where we talk choreography, industry, and all that jazz. Now, Tiana is an accomplished dancer and teacher, and she's just so passionate about her craft. She's been doing this for a lifetime, and I think she's still got a lifetime to go. So please enjoy this episode. We tap into not only where she comes from, how she got to where she is today, and we also talk about her journey as a teacher and as a dancer and what it's like to keep her choreography fresh in the classroom as well as on socials. She has a huge following on Instagram with over 26,000 followers, nearly 27 now. So it's just phenomenal. Welcome back, Tiana Vassallo. Stick around.
Hello and welcome to Studio Biz and all that jazz. I'm your performing arts business coach and host, Josephine Lancuba. This show is designed to bring you inspiration, information, and the instruments you need to create and grow the studio biz of your dreams. I will bring you a mix of solo episodes as well as interviews where I tap into the minds of industry experts. My career started as a performer over 2 decades ago. I later became a speaker, theatrical producer, and talent manager, as well as having a successful teaching career in singing, drama, and dance. 10 years into my professional journey, I became a mama of 2, and with a baby on my hip, opened up my very own performing arts studio. From hardship and humble beginnings to 4 studio locations and a multi-6-figure performing arts biz, I know how to attract students and keep them coming back for more. And in the show, I will share with you my experiences to help you thrive and fast-track your path to success. I know you have a spark inside of you with dreams and goals for the future. As your coach and mentor, I'm here to help you step into your limelight and be a cheerleader in your ear each and every week. So get ready to be entertained and inspired as we talk studio biz and all that jazz.
Did you know you can catch Tiana Vassallo live and in person at Studio Biz Summit this International Dance Day, April 29th in Sydney? She'll be on the discussion panel, choreography, the industry, and all that jazz, along with Marina Tomeo from Flamenco Australia and Elena Lambrinos from Leap and Learn. Plus, Tiana will be performing live. Don't miss it. Grab your tickets now. Head to josephinelancuba.com/summit. Link is in the show notes. On with the show. Tiana, welcome back to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you here again. How have you been going? Oh my gosh, it's been so long.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be back. I'm super busy, but busy is good. We love busy. But yeah,
we were just talking before you jumped on, and I said, "Oh my gosh, I've been so busy." You're like, "Yeah, busy is good." So, before we get into all the things, because there is a lot to cover, but busy is good. I mean, that's interesting. So, do you believe in the hustle culture, or that's not your vibe? Like, why is busy good in your world?
I feel like, as an artist, there's a lot of waiting around, and like when you finally have that work to fill that time, it's like, this is what I've worked for. Like, me and my friends, we always say like, I'm exhausted, but I'm living my dream life, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh, I love that so much. Now tell me, because, we've got you coming down to Studio Biz Summit. You'll be performing, and on the panel, we're going to talk about choreography in the classroom, etc. But what I'd really love to start with, because some people may or may not know you. I mean, we know that you're on Dance Life, the television series, and anyone that's kind of followed me will know that I've spoken about you a few times. I'm a fan. but I want to just start from the beginning. Like, you're a performer, you're an artist, you're a dancer, you're a dance teacher. Where did it start? So, where did the dance journey start for you?
So for me, I was really, really little. My mom put me into dancing. I think I was 2 or 3. Um, and then I haven't spoken like this in so long. I'm like, wait, I need to recap my dance training. Yeah, when I was like 2 or 3, I fell in love with it. In year 7, I moved schools to a performing arts school, started taking it a bit more seriously, and then from there, I guess, yeah, it's just been my whole life. Um,
Yeah,
After that, when I moved to Brent Street, I started assisting Cassie Barther in a few classes. And then that kind of transitioned into me moving into kind of the teaching realm of things, which was very exciting. When I graduated full time from Brent Street, I started my role in the creative intern at Brent Street, and that I was there for about a year. Before then transitioning to teaching at a couple of places. And, I love it. Like, I love, being that person for someone that a lot of my mentors were for me. And, just being in the
yeah.
classroom with so many talented children, like, it's amazing.
When you think back of your younger self, before you even got to Brent Street as a student, a young student, did you always know that dance was going to be, you say, your life?
Mm.
Was that something you knew as a child, or did that develop as you matured over time?
I feel like for sure that developed over time. I think, as I said, that really deciding moment for me was when I was in year 7. I really started to take it seriously when I went to that performing arts school and, was surrounded by it pretty much all the time. So I was like, okay, this is what I want to do.
Yeah. How many times did you train a week? And it's interesting because we've seen this, and you're a teacher now. I actually saw a post in a Facebook group just yesterday, and someone was talking about how they've got a 7-year-old student who's doing, X style, this style, solos, blah, blah. And people were commenting saying, whoa, that's too much for a 7-year-old. What was your balance as a young person who loved dance? Like, how often were you in your home studio?
I think because I wasn't like fully taking it seriously when I was younger, I only did 3 days a week. But I always say to my mom, I wish you made me do solos. Like, I wish, I had that little bit of extra training, even in that ballet style, like all the time now. I'm like, I should have gone to ballet more. I wish my mom put me in private lessons. But yeah, I was doing 3 to 4 days a week growing up until I did move into that high school kind of space where I was doing more than that during
You
the day.
know, it's interesting as a mum myself, I think your mum probably did the right thing because you didn't burn out. Your passion grew. Like it's almost like if you were doing all of those things, you may not be here today. You don't know. Like it's always feels like the grass is greener, but there is such a thing as young people burning out too. So I reckon your mum did you a solid because you're doing it. No, but you're living it now. Like you did 3 days a week, and that was fine because you're here today. So I think as a young person, there is a fine line for sure. I just thought that was interesting because I know that you were so dedicated as a young person, and those conversations have been bubbling in the studio owner community and teacher community of recent. So you decided that dance was going to be more than just a hobby for you. You said kind of in year 7, is that about right? You're like, let's
Yeah,
do this for real.
yeah, pretty much.
What did for real look like? Like, what does for real mean?
I guess like I didn't have like a plan. It kind of all just like slipped into place. And because I was at a performing arts school, which then transitioned to, doing distance education, I was watching all of the people that were coming in to teach me and what they were doing and going, oh, like I think I want to do that. I'd see at school, I used to have Gaynor Hicks, who's now dancing backup for Sabrina Carpenter, and she did Justin Bieber. And she used to come into my school and teach every week. And I was like, I want to do what you're doing because you're
Mm.
killing it. And that just looks amazing.
Do you have those networks and opportunities in your career at the moment where you get to audition or be a part of those sorts of performances? Like how, like, 'cause at the summit, you're going to be talking about, industry, choreography. But part of that industry conversation, I guess, is, those networks. Like, are you in that realm where you can audition for Sabrina Carpenter, or that's not where you're at?
I feel like at the moment I don't have my visa for America, so that is something that I'm definitely working towards, and
Yeah.
hopefully get over there eventually. But I have been off on a few corporates here. I did a show at the Opera House at the end of, what year is it now?
I know, right? It's 2025. I
Yeah,
often ask,
seriously.
how old am I right now?
I did it like at the end of last year, going into the beginning of this year. So that was amazing. And then, yeah, I've been doing like a few corporate jobs here and there, which is very exciting. And I am still surrounded by the most incredible people. I did a video the other day for Paris Cav, which is going to be amazing. So, yeah, I'm definitely well and truly still surrounded by those incredible people and so inspired every day.
Yeah, yeah. And I think so it's interesting because obviously, yes, you do need a visa to do those big gigs. And being in Australia, it is such a smaller market. Do you find that as a performer that you feel limited in Australia, or it doesn't feel that way?
I feel like it depends on what you want to do because there is so much work here. And um, yeah, I think it's just about being open-minded and taking every opportunity that can come in Australia because there actually is quite a lot of work. But I think for me, like that goal to get up there with an artist is so, um, strong. And I have been doing stuff for an Australian artist, and we went on a little tour, which was fun. But hopefully she reaches that point because that would be amazing. But I would love to head over to the States. Like I love being there. I just feel so inspired by everyone there. And I want to be there.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And it's a journey, right?
Totally.
It's one of those things. Like we can't just wake up tomorrow and be where we want to be. And all the steps that you're taking today are leading you to where you're supposed to land. So
Exactly.
I know you're gonna do that. That's gonna be awesome. I'm like rooting for you, don't worry. So tell me about now, speaking of industry, when you last were on the show, and this is like quite many, like a lot of moons ago, you were part of our Dance Life Unplugged pop-up series, and we had quite a few people. We had the executive producer, Jane Barnes. We had other people, cast members from Dance Life, which for anyone listening that doesn't know what Dance Life was, it still is a television series on Amazon Prime. It did really well, showcased sort of that behind the scenes dance industry for full-timers and focused on Brent Street graduation. Yeah. And you were one of the star casts. Now, it's been a while and it probably feels like forever ago because I know by the time you film it, by the time it's actually released, it's probably a couple of years later. And then again, another couple of years later, and we're still talking about it. But it made an impact in the Australian dance landscape. And I think that that's really important. Tell me
Absolutely.
about how you were selected to be featured for that. Like, did you have to audition or was that an organic filming process?
So at the beginning of our full-time year, Lucas, the incredible owner of Front Street, he invited all of us, the 90 course members, to jump onto a Zoom. And I was really confused. I was like, this is so random. Why are we jumping on a Zoom? And we got on there and we met the incredible Jade Barnes and Luke Cornish, who are now huge parts of my life. And I would never have expected that. Um,
Mm.
yeah, we jumped on and they were kind of saying, like, we've got a big surprise for you. And I was thinking to the studios, like, get repainted. Like, I don't really know what's going on. They did get repainted, but they were like, have you guys seen Cheer? And we're like, yeah, like at the time that was like the thing.
Yeah.
Um, and they were like, we're going to do Brent Street's version of Cheer, and we're going to select however many of you to kind of star in that. And what you have to do is we want you all to send I think it was 5-minute video speaking to the camera. We're going to send you some questions and we want them back by the end of like the 48 hours. Now, Jade always tells this story because she loves telling the story. But my video came in 5 minutes and we had to wait like at least like 8 more hours for everyone else's videos. And then apparently Lucas was like, and that's a reflection of Tiana's personality. So I got that off of that, which was fun. It's so funny, like retelling these stories, because as you said, it feels so long ago, but also
So
like, yes,
long ago, but it was a major thing. Like,
totally.
you know, Mariah Carey is still singing All I Want for Christmas. You know what I mean? Like 3 decades later. I think there's
Totally.
pivotal moments in anyone's career, and it's natural, that we want to talk about that. It's like, Guy Sebastian started on Australian Idol and everyone still talks about Australian Idol, but it's just the nature of things. Like, and I think that dance life potentially, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, is that pivotal moment, where you kind of stepped out of full time and realized that there was an industry that awaits. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, for sure. And that was just like such a great opportunity for all of
Yeah.
us that were featured, because
Yeah.
it just opened so many doors.
And that's what I wanted to ask you about, the impact. So, what impact did the show have in your life and career, if any? Like, what has been the flow-on effect, a couple of years on?
Yeah, so I think I was actually speaking to someone the other day, and I went in to teach somewhere. And I don't think that the kids knew that I was there yet. And you hear them go, "We have Tiana Vassallo." And I'm like, oh my God, like they refer to me like I referred to my teachers, like when I didn't know them. Like you say their full name, and it's like, oh wow, like they actually know who I am. Like that's crazy. And yeah, it's just
So it's
so
that
cool.
that recognition, so
Totally.
having a bit of a personal brand and presence. I mean, you do that through your social media as well. Obviously, well, maybe not. Do you think, because I'm watching you on Insta, right? Is it Instagram or TikTok where's your place to play? Like, where's your favorite place to play on socials?
Um, I think Instagram is more viewed by the public, so I try and keep that as like my CV kind of.
Yeah.
Um, TikTok, I definitely still post a lot, so I'm kind of
Yeah.
flipping between the few at the
You've got
moment.
a larger following on
Between the
Instagram at
two.
the moment, right? Is that correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Quite a large following, I must say. And so, do you think the show impacted the growth of your personal brand and online presence? Like, did that support the other?
absolutely. Yeah, it definitely, that is definitely the reason my socials did kind of take off. And again, like so grateful, because that is so hard to do without that platform. So it was just like incredible. And, so many of us received so many messages from like kids saying, we went through the same thing. Like it's so inspiring to see your story. And I think I just like didn't know how much I think that part of my life would help other people, because I kind of just went, oh, that happened, move on. But then when, we spoke about it, I was like, oh, like this actually happens to heaps of people, So
Mm.
it was quite it was quite inspiring to see so many people being inspired by me, because that's all I've wanted to do. As potentially when I reach that point as a leader, I want people to see that you can do things even with those setbacks and turn them into, that fire.
Okay, so two things there that you just said that I want to capture. Um, Firstly, setbacks. What have been the setbacks that you think that are inspiring others? What are the setbacks?
Well, I broke my foot while I was in full time, which was also on the show. And I think that for me felt like the end of the world, because, as I said, like dancing was my whole life. Like my education was connected to my dancing. Everything for, since God, 8, 9, 10, for 5 years, 6 years was like everything in my life was dancing. So as soon as, that injury came about, when I first broke it, I didn't know. I went to the hospital straight away. They tried to send me home and say that there was nothing wrong. And I was like, okay, I'm a dancer. Like, can I have your details in case anything goes wrong? And like you're going under pretty much. And they're like, okay, we'll send you into an MRI. I was like, why did it take so long? Anyways,
Yeah.
then they did find the break. I was like, you know what? It's fine. Like it's gonna heal so fast. Like it's all good. And then I went to the podiatrist. Is that what it's called? Yeah. The the podiatrist, and they were like,
I always get confused between podiatrists and pediatricians, but it's
yeah, me
podiatrists.
too. I was like, and they were like, yeah, it's 3 months. And for me, like being in full time for 12 months, 3 months is a long time, especially when, I dance every single day. So having that injury, like, was a setback for me. But looking back on it, it honestly gave me the opportunity to know who I was as a person without dancing. And I think that that is so important because, in those times where it's made me stronger, in those times now where I do have free time and I'm like, okay, but you're a person first. You're not a dancer first. So you can do human things. And like at the same time, like I'm in the studio training all the time, but I also am allowed to have a life outside of that. And I think that's so important. And if I didn't break my foot in full time, I think that the lows would be a lot lower now. So, it's a lot kind of easier to navigate because I know.
Blessing. It was a blessing in disguise almost.
Absolutely.
Do you think, looking back that, I mean, do you view yourself as an athlete? Is because when an athlete breaks, a limb or something happens, it's major and it really impacts their mental health as well. Do you see dance as that same playing field as being an athlete?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our bodies like do things that normal muggles don't usually do, especially in full time. That is so much training. We're training like 5 days a week, some of us more. And then, in our downtime, a lot of us have like jobs we're teaching after full time as well. So like that continuous, you can hear it in my voice. You probably noticed the change
I
in
have
my
noticed that there's a bit of a husk in your voice, but I haven't said anything because I didn't
yeah.
want to say
No,
anything. But I
have
wasn't sure if you're sick or if what's happening there, like
from
now that you've
teaching.
opened up that conversation.
Yeah, from teaching, I have vocal damage, so try not to yell.
Okay,
Um, I actually have an appointment at the ENT coming up. They think I have nodules, so that's a little bit
right.
annoying as
I
someone.
thought something was up, but I didn't want to say. I thought, okay, her voice, whatever, it's changed.
No,
No, it's changed.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
like, are you vocally trained as well?
Yes, I was vocally trained, but now like I can't even sing my song that I used to go in singing every
Okay. Do you
day.
think the vocal training though, with your teaching, like does, well, for me anyway, because I'm a vocalist. Before dance, I'm a vocalist, and I
Yeah.
worked professionally as a vocalist for over a decade. But for me, I always thought that maybe vocal's not your first, is it?
No,
Dance
and
is.
I do
Yeah.
think about the placement sometimes, but
Yes,
when my yell is less of a yell and it's more like a yes. And like when I get into that lane, I'm not thinking about where I'm kind
I
of
get
sitting.
you. Yeah,
So
see, I do intentional stuff when I'm teaching where I use my voice to cut through the sound, like high pitch or low pitch. But yeah, I actually hear what you say. So I don't do those energy because that can actually create damage. But yeah, no, it is a thing. But I've gotten to a point where I can really project in a room and I don't damage my voice. But yeah, it is hard. It is hard. Actually, teachers, like as in school teachers, can actually often get nodules as well and things like that. And that's through, they don't have the vocal training. I mean, you do, but of course it's not your first place. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. How do you feel about the nodules? Does that feel like a setback, or how are you feeling about that?
like sometimes I get sad because I miss singing, but I love
Mm.
teaching and I love what I do and like it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. At least it's not
I,
your foot, right?
exactly, exactly. I do have to make a decision though on whether I want to get the surgery or just kind of
Well,
maintain
do
it.
you want to be a professional singer at any point or use your vocals professionally, or is it really just a teaching mechanism?
I don't know because there was a point there where I was like, I'd love to, pursue this, but right now it's just not looking
It's
like
not on thing. And
it's
you
gonna
know
go.
what? You've got the skill in the dance. Like, don't, I'm turning this into like a chat now. Like, because I'm like, it's sad when, and anyone listening will get this. Like, people that aren't from our world don't get it.
Like even the broken foot thing, they'll be like, oh, that's a bummer, but whatevs, you'll be fine in a couple of months. Like, well, no, I can't work, I can't teach, I can't be in class, I can't do what I love. Same, like for me, the vocal, even when I got laryngitis as a singer and I'd have a gig, it was like the end of my world. In fact, people didn't get, they're like, you're all right, you'll be fine. It's like, no, it's the end of my world right now. So I hear you. I hear you, and everyone listening totally, totally, totally gets it. Okay, so let's relax the vocals for a second. Tell me about teaching. You said leader before, and that was another capture point that I wanted to grab onto. You said, you're working on, you're working towards being a leader, or you want to be a leader. What does that mean to you? Like leadership, what does that look like in your world?
Yeah, I think, as I said, being surrounded by so many incredible choreographers and teachers growing up, I was inspired by them and I wanted to be doing what they're doing. So watching kind of them, I don't know how to word this, but like their ways of putting together a piece, or also they're hanging around the studio, like I wanted to do what they were doing. So, kind of being that role model and ensuring that you're always kind of switched on in the right moments, and being that role model for those people, because I know when I was growing up I wanted to be exactly like them, and the cycle just keeps repeating. So I really want to be that person for someone.
Sort of like that mentorship.
Totally.
Yeah. That's cool. When it comes to that sort of, you talk about how they piece together the choreography or whatever they're doing in the space. One of the topics that you're going to be jumping on the panel for at Studio Biz Summit is we're going to talk about choreography. And I see the work that you're doing on your socials, like, love it. Obviously, very commercial, sort of contemporary space. Like modern, contemporary, commercial. Would you say, where's your pocket? Like, where do you see yourself in that realm when it comes to genre?
I think I'm more in that jazz world when it comes to making up combos and doing routines. But I am trained in contemporary lyrical. Like, if you wanted me to, I could go it together, but I know that I'm most confident in myself in that jazz space.
So when you put together that jazz combo or jazz routines and stuff for your students, like obviously you're keeping it fresh. Like we can see that it's on trend, it's keeping it fresh, it's unique. So how do you go about that? Like how do you keep it fresh? Like because we know a lot of teachers, especially people who might be a little bit long in the tooth, and I'm 42, so I totally get it. But when we have been doing something for such a long time, it's really hard to remain inspired and keep up with the trends, or keep up with, keep it fresh and interesting, even just for themselves. Like, what do you do to kind of keep that going?
This is a hard one because I don't necessarily think about it as such, but more when I'm doing stuff like, I don't know, I feel like I'm constantly doing research on what's going on at the moment, but there is a difference between being inspired by and copying. So it's, that is something that I am like so scared about, because sometimes, you're doing something, you're like, I came up with this step, and it's like, no, you didn't. Do you know what I mean? So I am like so anxious about that. So I literally will send it to like 10 of my friends and be like, do you see anything that anyone's done in this combo? Because I am terrified. And like, I know everyone works so hard towards their creative, work. So crediting that is really important. I think I started assisting people before I started creating myself. I, worked very closely with Cassie Bartho, Stephen Tanos, a few of those, and watching the way that their brain works and kind of looking at it and going, I feel like, especially as someone that's young, I'm used to doing like 1,000,003 steps in 2 seconds, and being around those type of people where they're like, no, you need to strip it back. And I'm like, oh, actually, simple is effective. Like it is still effective, and a lot of the time there's a lot of power in stillness. And you'll find when you're scrolling on social media and, someone's doing a million steps and then they stop, that's when everyone yells because they've stopped for a second and it's enough time to kind of digest. And I've noticed as well, like I've been going to lots of concerts and like artist performances with one of my friends where you go to everything together and we both go, as soon as they stop and they do just one arm, that's when everyone goes off. Everyone's losing it at that one arm. They didn't lose it at the 42 pirouettes, or they didn't lose it at the 20 million arms in 2 seconds. I'm still doing 20 million arms in 2 seconds, so don't get me wrong. And it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible to watch that people are capable of doing it. And I love learning choreo like that because that feels like the biggest challenge to me. But also, there is just as much power in stillness. And I think it's so interesting when you go to things like we went to Dua Lipa's tour and all of them stopped, and that's when everyone yelled like in the crowd, even as normal people. So it's just like interesting to like kind of view that and be like, okay.
I love that you keep saying like muggles and normal people. Like it's just hilarious. I love this. But yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. And it's that difference between, yes, there's the intricacies of the choreography and the technique that's involved and all things, but then there's the performance element and that stillness. And that's what's those moments that the audience can breathe and capture that moment, like that all counts. Yeah, I think that's really interesting. I never thought about the fact that you worry as someone who creates choreography and content, because you create content for social media too. I never thought about how you could worry so much about it being too close to someone else's work, because naturally we are inspired. I mean, I'll never forget, this is like, honestly, I reckon 15 years ago, I thought I'd come up with this song melody because I was in a band and we were writing music and whatnot. And I thought I came up with this melody and I was like singing it to my peeps. And they're like, dude, that's that song from Justin Bieber. You totally. And I'm like, what? I'm like, and they played it to me. I go, oh, yeah. And here's the thing. I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't take that melody on purpose. I actually thought I'd created it because in my head, it had just been sitting there subconsciously almost. And so it's interesting because you would be, like you said, you're doing research, you're consuming content, you're probably going to like classes and workshops, I'm assuming. So you're consuming choreography, how easy it would be to be so inspired and not realize that maybe that was a whole chunk from someone else's routine. So that's interesting. Yeah, I just thought that was really crazy because I never thought about that. And I suppose in cancel culture and credibility world online, that like, does that feel like really important, the credibility of your audience?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like people work so hard on their craft. And although sometimes it might not be intentional for that other person, it's like I spent hours coming up with that step and now everyone's kind of doing it. Do you know what I mean? And
So how do you protect your IP, your choreography online, or can't you? Like, how does that work?
I don't really know.
Yeah, I think yeah, because that's what I mean. Like, is it just an industry unspoken respect thing? Like, I guess that's what you don't do, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess like that just comes like, yeah, I guess it's kind of just common sense. Like you don't really, want to be
Yeah.
doing that. I mean, I
No, but
haven't.
people do it. I've seen it, and people have been blasted on socials for it too. So yeah, it's that muddy waters, I think. But yeah, I just found that fascinating. Sorry, I know I threw it back there, but I just thought it was super fascinating. Now you're going to be performing. Well, you're going to be on our panel. We're going to talk about we've got Elena Lambrinos on the panel as well from Leap and Learn. We've got Marina Tomeo, who is a phenomenal flamenco dancer, award-winning. She's been in Carmen the film. She's phenomenal, and also won choreography awards. She's going to be on the panel as well. But aside from that, you're going to be performing live at Studio Biz Summit on April the 29th in Sydney. We are going to be seeing you there, which is super fun. What can people expect with your performance, your solo? What are we gonna throw out there? What are we doing? Do we know yet?
We don't know yet. We don't know yet, but it's coming.
Yay! I love it. I'm excited. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be dynamic, that's for sure. So before we let you go today, because, we have to end the conversation one time or another, I'd like to ask you just a few questions that I like to ask my guests. And that is, who or what inspires you most?
Oh, I feel like over the years, every time I get asked this, I have a different answer.
Mm.
Um, I think recently my biggest inspirations, like it's always my family. Um, but Paris Cav is just breaking boundaries in every single thing that she does. And I think, it's so inspiring to watch her work, like reach such a big audience. And like she just knowing her now as well, she puts just as much energy into her relationships like as she does into her work. And I think because I have like kind of entered that phase of my life where I'm like, as we were talking about before, like a person before a dancer, and watching like someone that I look up to so much have so much time for her family, for her friends, for, her partner, like everything. That to me is something that I really, really want to implement. And like if I'm half the woman or creative that she is one day, like I will literally be happy. I can die happy.
Okay, well, now I'm sold and I'm going to go follow Paris Cav on Instagram or wherever she is. I'll figure it out. Is it Instagram or TikTok? Where does she play?
Both, all of the
Yeah.
above.
Okay, so Instagram I'll go to because that's where I like to play. Yes, that sounds cool. And relationships first, like that makes total sense. It's important. It's
Hmm.
important.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I love that response. What does success mean to you? What does it look like?
I feel like I need to put this next to my last podcast and be like, I wonder what I said. Um, but I think to me, success, it kind of changes, I guess.
I was
You
going
know,
to say, because you're saying you're going to compare it to no, we don't want to do that. We want to see the evolution. So tell us, what does it look like now in this moment? And that doesn't mean that in a year's time it's going to be the same, but what does it look like right now?
success is busyness,
Hmm.
like we wait so much for an opportunity, but so many of them are just right in front of us and taking those. And having a full calendar is a blessing. Like honestly, it's very exciting. And someone would kill to be in that position. So for me, like even those little moments where I get flown into state to teach, and I used to watch all of my teachers do that, and I'm like, that's so cool. And then I got the first email to go into state, and I was like, me? Like, are you sure? Like, that's so cool. Like, getting to travel to connect with other dancers is just something that, always in my head I wanted to do, but I never thought that I'd reach that point, if that makes sense. Like, it just seems so far out of reach. But yeah, and, being on stage once a month for me is success. Like, that. I want to book a job once a month, which I have so far this year. So hopefully it keeps going. Um, but
Love that.
yeah, right now that's kind of like where I'm
So
at.
working in the industry. I mean, I know that you're teaching right now at three studios, which is, part of your work, but the fact that you can do more, like I know, where'd you say you were? You're at Brent Street, JWDA, and finally it
Uh,
was
D&E.
DNE. Yeah. So you're working at these three studios, which again, right, is filling up that calendar, but you're also performing, you're getting interstate offers, you're on a podcast. Like I feel like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, and you're at this age where the work is still that really important piece, and so I totally get that because as an artist, you just want to do the job, you
Mm.
know, because too many are waiting on tables and in restaurants, and you don't want to be doing that. You want to be working within your industry. And I love that you've embraced all the pieces. So it's not just if I'm not on the stage, if I'm not dancing with Sabrina Carpenter or in Wicked the musical, then I am not like I'll wait on tables until that moment comes. And I'm not trying to put that down. Heck, I did it. But my point is that you're trying to find other avenues like workshops, teaching, social media, like it's all part of that one big picture to keep you busy, right? To keep you working. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Okay, cool. And what's next? So what's next for Tiana Vassallo? What's happening in your world?
Um, like so much, but like yeah, like a lot. I do want to get back over to the States, um, which is exciting, but I need to save lots of money.
Yeah,
Um,
what do you do when you go there? What happens when you go to the States?
well, at the moment, I just train and meet lots of people. And then actually last time I was in the States, I went with the producer of Dance Life, Jade Barnes, and Emily Smith, who is another incredible cast member. And we actually went to the Industry Dance Awards, and that was so cool. We met so many amazing people. We got to watch Liza Minnelli perform live.
Are you joking? Oh
Yeah,
my God, that is
it
phenomenal.
was so good. And like we hung out with Melissa Ziegler from Dance Moms, which was
Yep.
cool. We like saw so many people, Trisha Miranda, Harris Gobel, Paula Abdul. Like it was just so
I
cool.
love Paula Abdul. She's awesome.
She's
She's got a
amazing.
really strong work ethic, that woman.
She would definitely be one of my biggest inspirations for sure.
Mm, I love
Um,
that. Okay,
yeah,
so you go there and you network and you meet people and you do workshops and classes. Is that the general idea of it? Okay.
yeah, I kind of just take
Oh.
lots of class and switch back into that student mentality and, you know, just train.
Mm, mm. Are you going to apply for that visa?
I will. That's kind of looking like a next year situation.
Yeah, I love
But
that.
yeah, my like everything's falling into place and it's very exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, if you want to see Tiana Vassallo live and in person, along with other incredible speakers and guests, we would love you to come down to Studio Biz Summit. You can grab your tickets now. Head to the show notes or josephinelancuba.com/summit. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to see you on International Dance Day.
I can't wait to see you. See you there.
Bye.
This episode was brought to you by Studio Biz Summit, where you can enjoy industry discussions and insights at this live event for studio owners and team. Celebrate International Dance Day with us on April 29th, 2025. Grab your tickets now. Head to josephinelancuba.com/summit. See you there.